So you had this single focus to get to Marvel to draw Spider-Man. When you finally got there and you got to draw Spider-Man, was it like all of a sudden in your mind where you're like, now what? Like I did it.
That's exactly what happened.
Is it? And then you're like, I've done it. Now what? What's next?
It's a weird experience, when I have spent all this energy to achieve a goal. Yeah. And then the goal's achieved or at least satisfied. And I'm like, now what?
Yeah, right. So is that where like your idea to do your original stuff started to come in a little bit?
Yeah, very much so. And
nice. Well, the environment back then too, like the contracts are like, were you kind of like one of those, like you didn't want to give your good ideas to like Marvel because like they don't want, I mean, they weren't in it for the creators. They kind of still aren't anymore nowadays, because I'm still hearing stories about like, like Ed Brubaker was talking about how like Winter Soldier, he got kind of screwed out of that because I mean he basically created that character, but because it's Bucky, they're like, no, you didn't do that, so it's like,
how many times has Bucky been brought back and they're just basically like dud ideas, it's like, okay,
this one idea that hit.
How many times can you recycle the Cap's guilt over the death of his partner in World War II?
Right.
It was recycled a lot.
Yeah.
And here comes
Brubaker found this nice new way to do it.
He puts a spin on it that's like, holy crap, this is really great.
And arguably made Bucky better. Like, I mean, I think like
absolutely.
Winter Soldier's a great character,
Absolutely.
Like, well, he was so two-dimensional when he was just a victim sidekick, and then you pump a little bit of extra stuff into him, and then
but then not even like character. Not even throwing Ed Brubaker a bone. I mean, big deal. They put his name in the credits, but like, what about?
Oh, he's in a cameo in the movie, right?
He does, but like, he should have gotten money for that. Like,
for sure.
Like, for sure. I mean, that whole movie doesn't exist without what he did in those comics. Like,
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. That's all Brubaker.
It's funny. I was like, so you look at Lobo at DC, right? Simon Beasley didn't create him, but my definitive thought of Lobo is Simon Beasley's Lobo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I always thought, if I had an unlimited budget and I started like the next Marvel Comics where I had a multi-title line of comics, is I would try to design some kind of creator ownership. This is probably antithetical to capitalism, but it would be Simon Bisley would get a piece of ownership of the property. The two creators, I forget, Alan Grant, who created, and Keith Giffen, who created Lobo. Do you remember?
Lobo appeared what? Legion of Superheroes, or no? So was it?
If it wasn't Bisley,
it was like no. It was what the heck was that book? Was it the Fur? No. He appeared in something weird. Like
let's use an example that's more respectful because I'm more familiar. Say Wolverine, right? Wolverine was created, let's say, by Len Wein and John Romita Sr. Romita Sr. Designed the costume.
Yeah.
Fred Trimpe does the first issue with the Wolverine appearance. And so in my eyes, let's say the comics are story and art. So the writer and the artist gets creator credit. Other people disagree with this idea, but for me, comics are story and art, and they're inseparable.
Yeah.
So the writer and the artist gets a piece. The creator or the artist on the first appearance gets a piece. And then people like Claremont and Byrne, who put Wolverine on the map. I mean, he was just a villain of the month in the Hulk. When he was doing, I was buying these at the time, Hulk was doing a kind of cross-country tour, and he'd land in different sites, and he'd fight Tiger Shark at Niagara Falls, and he'd fight the Beast somewhere, and then he went to Canada, and he needed a Canadian villain, right? So, okay, let's call him Wolverine, go bananas, and then he's gone, right? Ideally, he's gone. But it was Claremont and Byrne that put him,
made him what he is. Yeah.
Put him on the map.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I would say, okay, you get a percentage of ownership, and so there would be this kind of mass profit sharing plan, under one property. I don't know if that makes any sense business wise,
though,
but I think it's fair.
I think a similar thing with Deadpool too. Like I think Joe Kelly made Deadpool what he is, not Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld's version was just Spider-Man light, but Joe Kelly gave him that whole like.
Joe Kelly turned him into the Bugs Bunny of the Marvel universe.
Bugs Bunny, but also, but he added a lot of the cool stuff, like I can't even think what, like the rivalry between him and you had like a lot of stuff that's in that first movie, like Weasel and the bar
breaking
of
the
like
fourth wall,
all the assassins, all that stuff
Yeah.
is from Joe Kelly, the breaking the fourth wall, all that kind of stuff, but yeah, I agree. Like if you, there should be some kind of multi-tiered system that if you kind of take a character and add more to them, or if some of that ends up in the eventual movie, you should get a piece of that,
I mean, even if it doesn't, you've contributed to. It's a franchise. It's a franchise team. It's an ongoing property that multiple people participate in. It's like the Yankees or a baseball team or a football team. It's like you have the entity, and then these other creators come in and contribute to the story of this franchise. And I don't know. I think there should be some kind of profit sharing thing.
Definitely. It shouldn't be lawyers trying to, telling Ed Brubaker that he didn't do it, didn't create that character. You know what I mean? Like they should be working for, to help the artists.
I know that Marv Wolfman and George Perez are credited with the creation of Nightwing. But Nightwing, there was a character called Nightwing before Dick Grayson took the name. He even says in the comics, I'm taking this name because it refers to one of my mentors, Superman, who played Nightwing in the Bottle City of Kandor, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so he's taking the name from another character, and he's Dick Grayson, Robin. And whenever you see Nightwing, you see Nightwing created by George Perez and Marv Wolfman. So I don't know. Figure that out. I don't.
Right.
I don't know
it's almost the same kind of situation, but
it's even more of a reason to say you can't say you created it because we have a Nightwing over here and you're using Dick Grayson Robin.
Right.
So it's even more of a reason to say if you're a corporation, you don't participate, because you didn't create anything new or unique, which is wrong. It's not correct. I mean, when Dick Grayson became Nightwing, that was a giant event.
Yeah.
We're still feeling today.
Yeah. And they haven't gone back on it, so.